Hey there, it's Brittany and I'm back with a tutorial. Today we're going to be doing the monthly jewelry collaboration challenge hosted by Pirate Pretties Jewelry. If you didn't see the video where I talked about joining this, my channel and I want to say 4 other channels, or at least collectively there are 5 of us, are participating in Pirate Pretties monthly jewelry collab. So this month is January, where our color is white. Metal type will be silver or gold, and you can make a bracelet or earrings. And then the theme or fun element is New Year's or fireworks. So I decided I'm going to make some custom bracelet bars and some custom earring pendants. So we're going to start with some Sculpey Primo Accents Clay in white glitter. This is a 2-ounce bar. I'm also going to use an embossing folder, and this one has fireworks, so I'm kind of being very literal here. And let's see, I want to choose a cutter from the Heart Supplies. I just haven't chosen which shape I'm going to go with yet, so that might come a little bit later in the video, but I will show you the cutter, and I will include a link once I figure out which one I'm going to use. And I am going to texture the back of my pieces with this texture mat that I got from the Heart Supplies as well. So let's get started. I'm going to cut off some of this, probably half this bar. I probably don't need more than that for the pieces that I'm going to make today. And I'm going to condition my clay. Conditioning means you're kneading and working the clay so it's not hard, so it's ready to be sculpted and baked. There are many different tutorials online and on YouTube on conditioning clay. I don't have one yet, but they're pretty easy to find. I'm gonna go ahead and condition my clay and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got my clay rolled out to the thickest setting on my pasta machine, and you can kind of see the glitter in there. Sorry, it's hard to, oh, there we go. See how sparkly that is? Definitely reminds me of New Year's. And, well, fireworks, I guess. But I'm gonna put down my embossing folder, and it has a positive and a negative side. So if I were to roll the clay on this side, it would make a negative image, meaning the image would be embossed into the clay. Now, if I use this side, which is the side I'm going to use, it will be debossed, meaning it'll raise up the, oh, and I have clay under my nails already, and I didn't even use that color. It'll raise up the image. This is the side I'm going to use. I'm just going to put it down on our board here. You can use a release agent. I'm not going to with this one because I need it to kind of get into the grooves a little bit more than I normally would. I'm going to put my clay down, make sure you have as much covered as possible, and then I'm going to use this textured matte sponge thing from the Heart Supplies. Put that over it, and I'm going to firmly roll over my clay, and I'm going to go back and forth. If you didn't do this with the mat, the clay would be rolling and sticking to the roller, but this way it's sticking to the embossing folder, so you can kind of go back and forth. Now, if you don't use the mat, you're definitely only going to get one pass. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing that until I feel like I've got as much, area covered as possible. Okay, and the good thing is the mat is also texturing the back of the clay for us. So we have this nice texture that we don't even have to work for. So we're gonna carefully, and I do mean carefully, start peeling this from the back. Probably gonna ruin like a corner of it just to get it going. And then we're gonna slowly release the clay from the embossing folder. And we've got a fantastic fireworks print on it. Isn't that so wonderful? So I'm going to make a bracelet bar. And if you see dots like that, you can get that off with some acetone after you bake or some alcohol before you bake. I'm not gonna worry about it for the moment. I kind of just want to figure out my placement. I can see that the pattern wasn't embossed or debossed as much here, so I'm going to ignore that or work around that and get my 2 earrings, and bracelet bar. The cutter I chose for the bracelet bar, and I know this is going to look a little strange to some of you because it's not symmetrical this lengthwise, it's symmetrical this way, is one called Spinning Top, and it is from the Heart Supplies. I'll leave a link below. And I'm just going to grab like a really good part that's really defined. I really like how this looks like that burst is coming through right there, and then starting with the burst over here. So I'm just going to press down, give even pressure, and if you need to, you can use like an acrylic block to push, something else to push. You just want to make sure you don't wiggle it because that can distort your image. So since I'm on paper and not just my clay tile, the clay is not going to stick. So it's going to come up very easily. And you can just grab it, and you can use anything you'd like that has a soft touch to push that out of the mold. However, you just have to be careful if you use like a pencil or paintbrush or something that you don't dent your clay. I'm going to do a pre-cleanup of this piece, because the more you clean it up before you bake, the less you have to do after you bake. I don't have to sand as much, just getting those rough edges out. Now, if you had a very thin piece, you probably want to do it on the tile and bake it that way, but I don't have a very thin piece. So there's my bracelet bar, and I could even alter this even more. I could cut off that point. I could do anything. Now I'm going to end up, I think, putting some silver paint on this. And then obviously I would seal it after that. If you put any kind of finish on polymer clay that's like water-based, you're going to want to seal it at some point because it can flake or rub off. So I'm going to set that aside. We'll come back to that in a moment. And then I'm going to make, I have the set, and this says RJ Crafts, but their new name is From the Heart Supplies. I'm going to make smaller ones for my earrings. Just use that. It's like the second smallest one. No, I'm going to use the third smallest one. So I used the fifth size for the bracelet bar. Okay, and then I'll just find some really good spots. Now, if you don't have another spot that you really like, go ahead and recondition your clay. You can do that as many times as you want. Let's see. I like that spot right there. So just press down. Pop them out. Put that to the side. We'll clean it up in just a moment. And I'm not seeing another piece that I really love, so I'm just going to redo that same process that I showed you by rolling out the clay in my embossing folder, and I'll be back. I have my Deco Art Metallic Luster and Silver Spark. It was kind of dried out when I opened it, but that's totally fine. It's wax paint. All you have to do is add a little bit of water. I might need to add a little bit more, but I'm not 100% sure yet. As you can see, I've been playing with it. Normally, I would say get some out and put it on your workspace so you don't have your fingers in there. It can have the tendency to make grow mold. So if you ever open a wax paint and see mold, it's okay. Just take it out. So I'm just going to lightly drag my finger that has the paint across the raised portion of my earring, and it's giving me a very subtle effect. If you want a darker silver, you can keep going. You can also wait until the items are cured in your oven to do this part if you're worried about hurting your piece. I'm not too worried, and I don't want, it's looking a little wintry, but I still think it looks New Year's-ish and fireworky. So, fireworky is my new word, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and keep doing this. I probably need to wet it just a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going to put a little bit more water on, and I'll be back. Okay, you want to be careful that you don't put too much water in it. If it does, just kind of blot your finger off. If you do, just kind of blot your finger off. There is way too much water in here now, but it'll be absorbed. It'll be totally fine. So I'm just going to blot it off. I have a little paper towel up there, and I'm going to lightly rub over the surface, just trying to hit the raised edges. And if you do hit the other edges, you can come back in, clean that up with a Q-tip, or you can leave it, whichever one you prefer. I'm just trying to get a lot of sparkle on here. I know we already have sparkle with the glitter. Yeah, I'm going to come back and clean that up. But I I'm really loving the silver. It just gives a slight little bit extra. And then here's our bracelet bar. Just really lightly going over those lines. You can see it kind of gets on there, but it's not really making a huge impact when it's not on the bars of the fireworks. I love it. It makes me so happy. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and kind of clean that up. Liking how the darker silver looks a little bit more. There we go. And you can do as many passes as you want. If you only want one really light pass, that's totally fine. But I'm really liking the darker look just on the firework part. And then, like I said, I'll come through and clean it up. And you can do that with water. You can do that with alcohol. You can do that later on with sanding. But I'm liking how that looks. I'm going to find a Q-tip. And I'm just going to kind of grab at that paint with the Q-tip. And you can keep a little bit of water or alcohol, like isopropyl alcohol next to you, which I don't think I have at the moment, but it's always handy to have like a little spray bottle. Just clean that up a little bit. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to just bake these at the manufacturer for the clay, their recommended temperature, which for Fahrenheit is 275 degrees. I'm going to do that in an hour. The longer you bake it, the stronger it is. I also have this mold that will make your bracelet bar curved. So I'm going to find one that fits my bracelet bar, so it's the second largest one. And I'm just going to lay that on top, and I'm going to slowly conform it to the bubble. And it's being a little stubborn because the back is textured. The back of the piece is textured, but it'll be okay. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Just want to be careful that you don't get your fingerprints in there. And if you do, you can also clean those up with alcohol later. Or not later, but before you bake. So this guy's doing okay. It's kind of coming up a little bit. There we go. And you can take a toothpick, you can take a little tiny cutter, you can do whatever you want to make your holes for your bracelet, so your jump ring can go through, or your wire, or whatever you're going to use to make your bracelet. I don't have my little tiny cutters right now, so I'm just going to use a toothpick to make a guide dot, and then later I'll come back with my Dremel or my hand tool and make a larger little hole. So just so I know kind of where I wanted to. You don't need to do this before baking, but it's helpful. And then I'm gonna go ahead and bake for an hour, and I'll be back to show you the finish. Okay, I am so excited about how my pieces turned out. So here's the bracelet bar. I drilled holes in both sides, and I just look how shiny it is. I just hit it with a light coat of UV resin and stuck it in under a UV light to cure. I don't have a video showing that, and this video was going pretty long, so I didn't want to show that in this one. There are tons of good, really great tutorials online for that. So I just love how sparkly it is. You can see the glitter, you can see the firework, everything is really pretty. And then for the earring pieces, I domed them with UV resin. This one I tried to do silver paint on the edges. I didn't really like how it turned out, so I just sanded it off. And then these are really sparkly. I just wanted like an elegant sparkle look for New Year's Eve with fireworks. So they're New Year's Eve and fireworks. So I got some really glitzy beads out. You guys probably will recognize some of these from past hauls. These are some Jesse James cage beads. And I got out some boho beads. I don't know if I'm going to be using all this stuff, but I got it out because I like the way it looked with everything. And actually, I had a really great conversation with somebody from Jesse James Beads, and they've heard the feedback. So they're really working hard to improve the quality of their magical mystery bead box. So I'm looking forward to that. And it wasn't just like a 5-second conversation. It was a very long conversation. So these, I think, came from Jesse James Beads bead box, or magical mystery bead box. This I got in Tucson. I just got out some random glitzy things. This was probably the glitziest clasp I could find. That's a Swarovski crystal with an AB finish. Flower doesn't really fit in, but I liked how glitzy it was. These also came from the November magical mystery bead box, the spacers that I'm putting out here. And then I think I got these in Tucson, and I just love that cut, and I love the silver. It kind of brings a little bit of the silver from the fireworks in. So I might get some more beads throughout this, but we'll see how it goes. I have the thing from November over here. These weren't as glitzy as I wanted them to be, so I just really pulled these out and these out of there. I'm gonna grab some beading wire. I'm going to use this 19 strand sterling silver bead stringing wire that I got from Pam. She was so generous and sent me a beautiful package, and she included this, which is just absolutely amazing. She found a fantastic deal on it, but still, it's still such an amazing gift. And then I'm going to use that on the bracelet. For earrings, they're going to be kind of simple because I did a lot of work in the pendants here. I know I really want to use these cage beads because they're very glittery right above them. It just looks like New Year's Eve, like ball dropping. And then fireworks below it. I think that's really pretty. Probably, I love putting these above things. And then I want to find a crystal. I pulled out these white crystals, but they're too white they're just not the right white. So I'm going to find a set of crystals to go right above that. And then that'll be our earring. And then I kind of want to, no matter what I do, the bracelet's going to be asymmetrical, so I kind of want to play off of that, and I want to be able to see my clasp, so I might put the clasp right here. And actually that makes the bracelet a lot easier if you do that, because if you have a bracelet bar, you're going to have to do 2 strands of wire and meet in the back, or you can do 1 strand of wire and then have the clasp meet over here. Whatever's, I mean, depending on the bracelet, I've done both ways, but I like it this way, and I want to be able to see this beautiful clasp along with my beautiful artisan pendant. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab a jump ring. I'm hoping that I have a jump ring that'll reach in that far. I should. And then we will get string some beads going around the rest of the bracelet. So I really want to use that bead at some point. Cut open these beads. I was looking through my pearls, my glass pearls, and I didn't see, the white didn't match, and I don't really want to go with ivory. I didn't really want to go with gray or silver pearls, so we're not really going to be using pearls. These are really pretty with this bracelet. Put this in the back somewhere. Oops. Should be using my bracelet bead board, but I don't know how this will feel against my wrist. I think we're just going to use the cage beads in the earrings and not on the bracelet. Here. Okay, and then we'll grab another one of these orbs. This is going to be a very chunky bracelet, but I love my chunky bracelets. And if you're going to go out on New Year's Eve, go big or go home, right? Go sparkly or go home. I'm going to look through my bead caps because I think it needs a little bit more sparkle from silver. Okay, so I found these bead caps. I really like them. They're pretty sparkly once they're up against the orb beads. And I found a really thick gauge jump ring that worked really well with our our bracelet bar. So I'm going to go put that on and slip that on. And then here is the beginning of our bracelet. So lovely. And then you could even use that as a pendant itself, like that. Leave it flat or curve it if you'd like, and then use this as a pendant. That is so much fun. I might do that. I might make a coordinating necklace at some point. So now I'm going to grab some crimp beads and crimp covers. Some pretty big crimp covers. It's okay because our beads are pretty chunky, so that'll work out for us. Yeah, we'll use these gunmetal. I think that's what happens every single time. And then I'll get out my beading wire. I'm going to cut this off. There's a little bit of a rough edge there. My good tools are still downstairs. Okay, so we can do one of two things. I can put another jump ring here, or I can just wire onto the piece, but I want it to be semi-uniform, so I'm going to use that same type of jump ring. I know I've told you guys this a bunch of times, but if your beads are bigger, you're gonna have to make your bracelet bigger because it takes up some of the circumference of the inside of the bracelet, and if you don't make it longer, it'll be too short because it's sticking out a little bit from your wrist. I think it's hilarious, and I'm using these old tools because I'm still working on a project downstairs with my real tools. Well, my other tools, I should say. So, okay, I've got my jump ring on. I'm going to grab my wire. This is very sturdy wire, by the way. Actually, I want to put on my crimp bead first. And I think we can just flat crimp this because these crimp covers are huge. Huge. All right, stick that back through your crimp bead. Grab your crimping pliers. Tug that bead down to where you'd like it to be. You can use your wire guards if you'd like. I'm just going to flat crimp. There we go. And grab one of your covers. Slide that right over and then just kind of squeeze. And you'll just work it until it's closed all the way. Slide it down a little bit. There we go. And you can cut this tail off. You can do whatever you want. You can put it inside some of the beads. I'm just going to cut off a length of this wire, kind of staying conscious that it's very expensive wire and I don't want to have a lot of waste. Okay, so I'm going to put on my bead cap. It's going to be very glitzy bracelet once we're finished. And if you're not already, I would suggest joining my bead group because we post a lot of great stuff throughout the day. I actually saw something really cool on somebody's bracelet, cha-cha bracelet that they made. They stacked 3 of these, it was Bonnie. She stacked 3 of these spacers together and made a charm out of it, and it was so pretty. I was like mesmerized. You guys will see that in one of my projects coming up because I love when I get new ideas from people, but it was really pretty. Bonnie, you did a good job with that bracelet. Let's see. This off a little bit here. Okay. Oops, we need our bead cap. Oh, it's so sparkly. I'm like staring hard at this bracelet. It's so pretty. All right, we'll go on with our next bead. I'm going to measure this. If I can find my ruler. My desk is atrocious right now. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, so we're at about 6 3/4 inch. Actually, we're gonna go like this far. We're about, yeah, 6 3/4 inches. Normally I would make it 7 1/4 to 7.5 inches long, but I'm gonna make it longer than that because of how, like I said, how chunky these beads are. So I'm gonna go ahead and add another one of these with some more bead caps. And it turned out we didn't need any other lighter color beads. These worked out really well. I need one more of these. And the issue is I ran out of these. So what am I going to put on the back here? Let's see how long this is now. It's about 7.5. Would like one smaller bead to be there. And let me see if I can find one in our little mix from Jesse James Beads. No, I really wanted one that had the AB finish on it. None of these do. So that's okay. I'll look in my crystal soup. It's right here. That's yummy too. So, ooh. Well, it's not the right color, but that cube is pretty awesome. So it's just a rondelle with silver on it. I think that'll be perfect for the back of this bracelet. And then I will go ahead and put on my clasp, but let me make sure it's long enough. Yep, once I put it on with the clasp, it should be long enough. So I'll go ahead and grab my last crimp bead, put on our toggle, come back through, and there will be some extra of this wire. I'm thinking there's enough to do like 1/2 of a bracelet. If I do use a different bracelet bar, so I might save it because it's such nice wire. Okay, and then you want to make sure that your bracelet isn't taut. We don't want it straight and then we tighten it and then we can't get it around our wrist because it's it's all in a straight line. So we're going to pull that. I'm going to flat crimp again because we're not going to see it. And then I will grab my cover. Put that over our clamp down. We're good to go. And then we're going to trim off the excess wire as close as we can. Now these aren't the best, so it's really hard to do it with them. Okay, and here is our first bracelet for the challenge. It is so pretty. Doesn't that scream New Year's to you? And fireworks. I mean, you can wear this literally all year long as it's something that'll match your wardrobe. It also says winter. This is, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this. This is going right in my jewelry collection. This one's mine. Okay, now we're gonna make the earrings. So I'm gonna grab some 20 gauge silver wire. Okay, I just grabbed some artistic wire. I've had this for a million years. It's 20 gauge, and apparently I haven't used it in a long time, but it doesn't tarnish because I know I've had this for at least probably 10 years at least, maybe. So I am just going to cut off a length, a few inches, maybe 5. I won't need that much, but I get paranoid. Now I am not going to wire wrap it onto here. I'm just going to make a loop, and I'm going to use my Beadsmith bail making pliers. I just got these and I haven't used them yet, so I'm excited to use them. I am going to use the, let's use the third biggest set or round mandrel, which would be this one right here. So I'm going to put the wire just so it's peeking out between our mandrels, and then I'm going to spin around the mandrel that I want to make the size of my loop. Okay, so we have a nice perfect loop there. I'm going to grab my nylon jaw pliers, hold on to that, and I'm just going to bend that back a little bit so we have a beautiful loop. And then if you want to straighten that out, just hold it with your fingers, grab it with your nylon jaw, and then just pull up the wire. And we've got a nice eye pin. And it's funny, on one of my other videos while I was editing it, I heard myself saying head pin when I meant eye pin. I do it all the time. It's like saying right when I mean left. And somebody mentioned it. I was like, I know, I'm sorry. So we're just going to slide this on. Super easy. We're going to close that back up. And absolutely you can wire wrap this on. I thought this wire was just going to be a little too soft for me to, a little too soft and a little too bit of a higher gauge for me to get it to respond the way I wanted. Now I don't know, I really, really want these to be up against my piece, but I don't know that it's going to work the way I want it to work because of the crystal in the way. Yeah, see, we're not able to go, I just want to go straight through, and since there's no hole in the crystal inside, I can't. Oh no, that's frustrating. Okay, I really wanted to use these because they remind me of a disco ball, or you know, the ball that's dropping on New Year's Eve. I'm gonna get this. Got it. I got it, I think. Yeah, there's a crystal in the way, but I got it. All right, so it's still a little off because the crystal's pushing the wire out of the way. Maybe there's something else I can do. I really wanted to use these. And I think this is gonna be way too big. Yeah, that's way too big. Okay, so I don't know if you saw one of my other tutorials using this method. I actually slid the rondelle down to the base of our loop, or the beginning at the top of our loop, however you want to look at that. So for this one, I'm going to do the same thing, and I don't know if I want to use a bead cap here. We're experimenting. Yeah, that's really pretty. Put a bead cap on top. And I need to get out another crystal spacer because I want to see what it looks like on top here. Oh yeah, 2 crystal spacers is definitely where it's at for that earring. Okay, so we have 2 of our crystal spacers on this stack, and then I'm going to grab my bail making pliers and I am going to grab on to the bottom of one of our cage beads once we make a loop. So I'm going to make a smaller loop this time, using the second smallest mandrel, sorry. And we will go ahead and go like this. You can turn it whichever way you want. It doesn't have to go to the back, go to the front, whatever way you want to do it. It's a little bit harder when you're up against the beads instead of just doing it at the end of a free piece of wire. So I'm just going to move this up. Here we go. There's our loop. I'm going to cut off our tail, and then I will go ahead and even that out a little bit. And if you don't have bail making pliers, totally fine. Just use your regular, sorry, it came off camera, your regular round nose pliers. I'm going to move over to this one just to even it out a little bit. Actually, we'll come to our round nose. Here we go. All right, so I made that a little long, so I'm going to clip off a little bit of our tail, a little bit more. I didn't want such a large, we could have gone down to the smallest mandrel on the plier here. Go ahead and finish that loop. Okay, so there's our loop. There's our earring, which is so much fun. But it's not finished. This is supposed to be really glitzy and glamorous and flashy, right? Because it's fireworks and it's New Year's Eve. So here's our bead. I'm going to grab it at this point right here. Set it facing that way so I can remember which point I'm looking for. And I'm going to open our wire. Hook it onto our earring or our New Year's ball. Oop, hook it on correctly. Well, there we go. And then we'll do a little bit of this. Close up our loop. So here is, well, oh, I don't know if I like that. It was better in thought than it was in practice. So let's see. Yeah, I don't like it. I do not like it. I like this part. I really love this part. And I think that's what we'll do. Sometimes you have to just go with your gut. All right, so I really wanted to work those in because I thought they looked fantastic with this pendant that I made, but it's not working out. It's not working out the way I wanted it to, which is a-okay. So we have this. I'm going to turn my pin a little bit. I feel like I need to put a tiny crystal here, so I'll do that on the second earring. Okay, I found these little crystals, which I thought were perfect for the top. And so we'll make the second earring and then I'll show you everything together. So we put that guy on there, close it up. I'm not going to wire wrap the top. It's not looking right. It's not looking the way I want it to. So we're going to go ahead and slip on one of our rondelles, bead cap, crystal, bead cap, rondelle, another crystal, different kind of crystal rondelle. I just love how sparkly this set is. It's so much fun. So there's our earring. And of course you can keep going as many beads as you want on there. These are your crazy New Year earrings. So I'm going to bend it this way, sideways, because we want the loop to go around this way so I can hang on an ear wire. I'll clip a little bit. And then I will just make a simple loop like we did at the bottom, but I'm not going to use my bail making pliers. I'm just going to use my regular round nose. Okay. So it's going to go that way, and I actually need to turn, so we'll grab our wire. I'm going to grab it with my these because I just don't want it to get messed up. Is there something wrong with this bead? No, we're good. Okay, so we'll go ahead and make sure we turn this 90 degrees. So it's hanging that way. So I can just hook on an ear wire. You can tighten this up. You can just keep curling it until it's tight, because these beads are, this bead isn't perfectly round. The bead caps are kind of moving around a little bit, but that's totally fine. And then just kind of finagle it until you get to where you'd like it to be. I'm good with that. I'm going to straighten it a little bit with my pliers, and then find a bead, not a bead cap, but an ear wire. And there is our one-of-a-kind, fantastic New Year's Day fireworks earrings. Or earring, I should say, to finish the second one. I'm going to go ahead and make the second one, or finish the second one, and I'll be okay. Finished product. Here is our bracelet, which you've already seen. So much fun with our little rose and fireworks and glitz and glam. And then we have these earrings, and it's so funny, they turned out to be the exact same design that I did in that one other clay tutorial. However, they are so different because these can be used just in so many different ways. I'm thinking 4th of July for like a glitzy party for 4th of July, because there are fireworks. We can use it for snowflakes. We can use it for Christmas. We can use it for winter, New Year's Eve, because it's so glitzy and glam, and you know, anything dressed up. So I'm super excited about these. I think the whole set is just gorgeous, and if you make your own components, nobody else is going to have the exact same things as you. So it just kind of, it's a conversation starter. Somebody's going to see this and say, I've never seen something like that before. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something today. If not, that's cool too. Thanks for joining us with our collaboration with Pirate Pretties monthly challenge. I'm super excited that we've got our first one under the belt, and you know, I'm really excited to do the next one. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Stay tuned for Goldie. Bye-bye. He's so bossy. Look at that smile. Yeah, you're happy.